is an act of forcing sexual intercourse with someone against his or her own will. And this has been on the rise in our society recently, following the cases of Uwa and Baraka and many other girls and even guys. And this has been on the news for so long. It is really disheartening. Welcome to another episode of Chilled Banters. I'm in the studio today with two beautiful co-hosts.
I'm Eniola Oyemolade.
And I am Mrs Adegboye. In 2015, UNICEF reported that 1 out of every 4 girls and 1 out of 10 boys had experienced sexual violence before the age of 18. As you can see, women have the highest percentage, and it's really disheartening.
There are several forms of sexual harassment. We have verbal harassment, unwanted sexual favors, and so on.
Yeah, right. Okay, so today we have a guest on the show. She'll be joining us in the studio very soon, and she's here to answer questions that I believe some of our viewers even need answers to. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, viewers. This is still Chilled Banters, and we have our guest here in the app. Can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Mrs Adegboye. Mrs. I'm a lawyer, a former chairperson of FIDA.
All right, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, man. So before we went on that break, we talked about the definition of rape, the facts and statistics, and also the type of rape. All right, so the first question I have for you today, ma, I have come to realize that it is only when there is a fresh case of rape, that is when people make so much noise about it. Like, advocacy for rape cases doesn't go viral until there is a fresh case. Why is that so, ma?
I don't know why it's you, myself. We are going to be encouraging people not to let go, whether the rape case is fresh or not. Okay. And that is what you are even doing. Because what we are doing now is creating awareness and sensitization. So we are going to be appealing to ourselves, all the stakeholders, not to let go. Whenever there is a rape issue, should be reported to the police. The police, they are the ones with the powers under the law to arrest and prosecute.
And I'm saying people don't actually make so much awareness after a rape case dies down. Because, for example, now the Uwa case has actually been going down, and the way people talked about it when it actually happened is not the same way people are talking about it right now.
We are going to be encouraging people to keep talking about them, so that it does not die down. And how we can keep keep talking about it is by going through prosecution. Talking alone will not achieve anything. We have been talking, and the cases, they keep happening. It is by arresting the suspects, the perpetrators, and going through the legal process. Don't leave them. Don't accept for the process to be cut short. Don't sweep it under the carpet. Don't accept gratification. No compensation. We should all stand up and say no to rape by going through the process of prosecuting the perpetrators. And if they are punished, the punishment, we are appealing to our people in the media, including you people. So now report whenever they are punished. It's, I believe, keeping the tempo and seeing it, the legal process to the end, is going to act as a deterrent to will-be perpetrators.
Ma, when these rape cases happen, there are people always angry, and some people like, oh, let there be death sentence for them, let's castrate them, many things. What do you think about that? What do you think of these suggestions?
Suggestion of death sentence and
kill them.
We can all get angry, but we cannot go beyond the provisions of the law. What does the law say? As of now, the provisions for the punishment of law, we are in Ibadan, Oyo State. So let's talk about Oyo State. We have the Federal Act, that is the criminal code, and it's in section 357, defines rape. 358 gives the punishment as life imprisonment. And then 359 talks about attempt. You make an attempt to commit rape, you have not even succeeded. An attempt carries the punishment of 14 years. So we are talking about the law. But where, like the recent cases of Baraka Bello and another woman, Asisat, in Ibadan here, they were both raped and killed. Those ones are 2 crimes, not even 1. So for murder on its own, we already know the punishment for that one is even the death penalty. And then, so if we are talking about people that are just talking, Law, the legal system does not act, does not, go that way. Courts, the prosecution can only prosecute, and the court can only, impose, mete out the prescribed penalty. And of now, the prescribed penalty for rape is life imprisonment, and then the attempt 14 years. So the issue of whether we want death or castration, law does not work that way. It is not what we think out of anger. Like the popular saying, law and sentiment or moralities are strange bedfellows. They are not the same. People are talking talking about castration is mere sentiment, except the laws are now amended. When the laws punishing rape is now amended, and they now say, okay, castration or death. But for now, in Nigeria, punishment for rape is life imprisonment, or the lesser one for attempt, 14 years. And defilement of a child, a girl that is below 11 years too, is life imprisonment, and the one that is a little older, 13 years, but older than 11 is 14 years. So we have those laws. With the laws, the court can only impose prescribed penalties, not what we think or we expect. Yes, it is the law we are going to follow for now. So, and while still on that, I am going to say emphasis should not be on the laws alone. There are laws, enough laws. It should be on implementation. The laws, they should be, perpetrators should be punished according to the dictates of the law.
Wow, very, very awesome. I support that totally. Yeah, that's very true. Okay, ma, when the Uwa case actually happened, there were so many comments on social media, especially on Twitter, and people were saying that, well, anybody who rapes, they could have a reason for raping, which is really an eyesore. But some people still argue that, well, that there are psychological effects for that reason. So, ma, is there any psychological effect that would cause somebody to rape another?
Thank you for that question. We should not make cases. We should not make excuses for rapists. We are not going to be responsible for their excuses. But we have noticed that I believe that normal people don't rape. Normal human beings do not subdue another human being and use fear, because you can't rape without the presence of intimidation or threat to life, threat to harm, and some other things, or even the one we call fraudulent representation. Okay, so whoever does that must have some psychological problem. And I personally believe that those who rapists are suffering from mental disorder. No normal person will go and rape another human being. Some of the reasons or conditions that I believe can lead to a man going to go and rape another can be, I identify them as follows. One, mental disorder, just like I have said. Okay. Somebody cannot be in clear and be sane and go and rape another. The person and some of our young ones are under the influence of drug abuse. Some act under the influence. They mix a lot of, we have heard in the news how young men of nowadays, or even the women, they mix a lot of nonsense together, drugs, tramadol, the rest, and weed, whatever. So cheap things together that now turns their brain, or that leads to mental instability. So I believe that somebody who can rape must have mental disorder, must either be under the influence of drug abuse, or somebody with low self-esteem that needed to subdue another human being for you, because that is just the control. Rapists have control over victims by subduing them, intimidating them, and giving them the impression, there is a threat, making them know that there is a threat to the life of the victims, which we have even seen some have resulted in. The threats are actually very present. It has resulted in death. So whoever does these things, we must have some form of mental disorder under the influence of something that is not normal, which will be drugs, or somebody with low self-esteem who can only feel okay by subduing another person.
Wow. It's right for us to make any excuses for them.
It's not even right to make excuses for them, but wow, it's really been an engaging session with Mrs Adegboye. We'll be right back, so we still have more questions to ask on the show, so we'll be right back. Stay tuned.